Hi, Yusuf here from Propane Fitness, and I'm reviewing the Jaybird Rain today. So I like Jaybird as a company. I think they're doing some great things. I've used their headphones in the past, and they broke recently after 3 or 4 years of using them. I sent them a letter and they sent a replacement, no questions asked. So they're in my good books, but that's not going to affect this review. So this is an activity tracker, one of the competitors to Fitbit. I think it's pretty stylish. It came in some very slick packaging. Not that you'd be like, oh, well, if it's in nice packaging, I'm definitely going to get it, but it certainly helps. So this is the default kind of wristband that you can use. The actual device pops out like that. So that's the actual thing, and it connects through Bluetooth. It's got a pretty slick charger as well. So you just slip it in there, and then that connects to USB. So the other wrist things that it comes with, you get 2 sizes of the elastic one. You get a nice kind of formal one for going out with metal bits there. And also there is Asbo chic, so you can put it around your leg as well if you're on house arrest, so that's always good. Now, what it tracks is activity, heart rate variability, and sleep. And so far, the estimates of the type of activity that it's been tracking are relatively accurate. So it does use its own kind of point system, and I'm not sure what the coefficient is for that, but it also gives you a calorie measurement too, so you're not tied into using their points. There we go. So I have heard of some people just sat in their room somehow accruing loads of steps, and I don't know how that happens, but it gives you a nice breakdown of activity over time, and also same with your sleep. The problem is smartphones are now starting to compete with this, and they've got their pedometers and accelerometers now to track your sleep and steps and things. So the differentiating factor is that you can just attach it to your wrist or ankle, so it's the portability aspect. You don't have to then have your phone with you when you're in the gym all the time. And also is the heart rate variability monitor. So when you wake up, what they ask you to do is just place your fingers on the thing for 2 minutes, and then it gives you a reading based on your heart rate variability, and that is supposedly a proxy variable for your level of recovery and whether it's appropriate for you to train that day. And they claim that it's not necessarily correlated with how you feel, but it could be a good indicator of what your performance will be like. So I can't compare this to the Fitbit because I've not used one, but one nice little feature is that if you tap it 3 times, sod's law, it's not going to work. There we go. Maybe you didn't see that. There we go. So it shows you a measure of how much activity you've done that day so far. I've just been sat here revising, so I've not been very active, but it fills up to the full bar when you've hit your recommended amount of activity based on the inputs that you start off with and that you put in based on your body weight and all that stuff. It also processes information pretty seamlessly. When you open up the app, it connects to the thing without you having to do anything, and it just downloads all of the data. And also, it looks nice. So those are the pros. The cons, I can't really fault the device itself. It does what it promises, says on what it says on the tin, and my criticism is really more of a philosophical one, in that in general you need a purpose to be tracking your data, and it's all fine and well to have tracked and collected the data, but then the onus is on you on what to do with it, and there's no point in kind of tracking your expenditure if you don't know what your intake is, and no point tracking your sleep if you haven't got the basic factors that are under your control nailed. So consistent bedtime, cold room, eye mask maybe, so, and some kind of evening routine. So that stuff is really down to you, and I guess that's in the hands of the beholder. It would be great to have a one-stop shop for macros, sleep, activity, and the whole lot that synchronizes with your desktop computer and a web app and everything, but maybe we'll start to see that in the next generation products. So overall, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It does what it says on the tin, and it's pretty slick in the process as well. I've had no hiccups with it so far. So just something to add, I had the Jaybird Rain in my sock, but without the ankle attachment yesterday. Getting into the shower, took my sock off and just flung it across the room, and it went into the toilet, and I hadn't flushed. Luckily, it was just a wee. But the good news is it's still working. So after a good rinse off, it's fine. So extra points for Jaybird.